What's up gamers, KKaceh here, and I'm here to yap about the latest combat event of Honkai Star Rail. Basically, Honkai Star Rail did it again. The new event, the Galactic Baseballer, is one of the more fun combat events that we have had in a while. For those who are not aware where the inspiration of this design gameplay comes from, it is from Vampire Survivor. Just like in the Baseballer event, as you beat enemies, you will get experience, and then you level up. As you level up, you will be given weapon or accessories at random. The aim is to gather a few weapons first, level them up, then evolve them into a higher tier weapon by having the right accessories. The only difference is that with Vampire Survivor, you can only have one character and you will revolve your run around them, since they have default weapons. Just like in Vampire Survivor, in Honkai Star Rail, instead of characters, you're revolving around the stage because they will give you a default weapon based on the stage. And this game is just good. It's not demanding compared to Endgame or Simultaneous Universe or even some of the earlier combat events. You're only required to bring the right team that will trigger the weapons and also choosing the right weapons. And you can even clear all of the events with just your trial characters. And this weapon can provide some absurd damage, and we as the users, we feel like we are very powerful against waves upon waves upon waves of enemies. Also, thanks to the item gameplay element, we don't have one predetermined result. You have the option to choose what weapons you want to use from all the selection of the weapons that are given to you by the RNG. This kind of freedom and a little bit of randomness element always makes a more engaging gameplay and improve the overall enjoyment for the users. Countless applause to the developers for making such a fun event. Before we continue further with the discussion, let's take a look at the community poll voting result, whether it should be a permanent event that can be played at any point, like the Ethereum Wars, or even add them to some kind of new endgame content, or the simplest will be just add them as a part of mechanics for the Simultaneous Universe, perhaps with toned down damage and you can only hold fewer weapons. As the time of recording, we have 3.2k votes in, and 91% of the people agree that this game mode should be accessible to all players permanently in some kind of form. To show my appreciation towards my community members that always supporting me by interacting with my channel and always voting, I will pick 2 comments from the side that agrees and 2 comments from the side that disagrees. And I might even add 1 funny comment. There's no specific criteria, I'm just gonna read specific ones that I think interesting enough to be read out loud, and perhaps it could be an interesting opinion that all of us can ponder and learn from. First, we have disagree opinion. The first one is by Best Girl Jordan Fish. Jordan said, maybe not permanent, but this and Ethereum War should maybe come back once per 3 months or something, acting as testy fillers so they could take it easy on the devs if something is recently demanding. I can see the point Jordan is making. This event is just very satisfying with combat, but since it is less about your characters and more about how to trigger the items, so everyone can enjoy the events while producing a good damage, that is satisfying to see. And if this cannot be implemented to the permanent challenge, it should make a frequent return at least, so once in a while we can get away from all this intense challenge from character building and more about having fun with big damage numbers. And everyone should be able to do it without investing on their characters, especially newer players. And the second opinion is by Tetenzen12. It's great fun, but I don't think it should be endgame mode. After all, endgame should require some advanced team building and a character build. In this mode, weapons on the other hand do all the heavy lifting. And once again, Tenzin makes a very great point. As of now, the norms of endgame is always revolving around your ability to put the right teams against the right enemies, and you're expected to have your characters to be very strong, which is why I think this particular system is better to be integrated into the Simultaneous Universe by having the weapons upgraded similar to the blessing system, but it needs a lot more balance. And if this has happened, basically Simultaneous Universe will have the element of rogue-like along with the Vampire Survivor item-based gameplay. And at this point, Honkai Star Rail will have all kinds of gameplay mechanics from all popular games, which is not a bad thing. Now let's see those who love and agree to make them permanent. The first one is by Suwan6952. The fact they give trial characters throughout the entire stage, even the final one, which usually need only your own team, itself is peak, since it helps newer player. And similarly, T0PDog said, as a new player who just started a month ago and still has to farm to max level, light cones and relics, being able to do big damage and numbers and use units I don't have is super fun. I'm pretty grateful that I get to full on use them even if it's just for one game mode. Yes, both of you make a very good point. Honestly, I was very surprised that on the final stage, they give you so many trial characters you can use. This way, it gives players some sense on how the characters played in a team that you make by yourself, and in turn this will help them decide whether they should pull for them again when the character reruns comes, especially for newer players that have no idea about the games. Credits to the developers for thinking about newer players as well. Because sometimes with live service game, as the game gets older, they tend to focus on the up-to-date content and not much about how newer players can catch up to the up-to-date content faster, or even have some taste on all of the older characters. And the second comment that agrees that it should be permanent is by KKaceh. It should be permanent simply because it is an event that was tailor-made for people who enjoy treating enemies like dummies and saying big PP numbers. Like FFs, what's FFs? I did like billion plus damage against something onto death boss and still live at 3% HP. Yeah, I had the flying sword item at one point and continuously flying to Sam until he dies. Yeah, it is a very satisfying feeling to have. Bosses that usually take so much effort just to kill them, especially in Memory of Chaos. But in this mode, you feel very strong as a player, which is a very refreshing feeling, I have to say. And lastly, let's look at some funny comments. Suwan6952 said, Giovanni appears, show peak battle event, elaborate no further, leave, truly my favorite mask fool. Yeah, Honkai Star actually made a very interesting NPC, recurring one at that. And because of that, he's my favorite because despite him being a mask fool, he just loves making people play video games. And I really love Ethereum Wars. I hope he gets some redesign in the future and become playable, since usually more mask fool the better, at least for me. Alright everyone, thank you for commenting. Those who didn't get their name mentioned, I apologize for not mentioning your comment in the video, but I've read almost all of your comments. So I really appreciate for taking your time and writing down the comments for such a small channel like mine. If you want your name to be mentioned on the next poll, do leave a comment as well. And I'm thinking to bring one of the poll results as one of my videos, maybe every week. The poll that I made after this one is about existing character that might get an upgrade. I have made a video about that, so I want to make another video. But I didn't get as many views or comments, but still, I want to hear more about opinions from the other users. So feel free to comment on the poll, and if you want to help me further, do watch the video and leave a like and comment about your thoughts. With that being said, it is undoubtedly that this combat event is one of the best they have made so far. Thanks to the accessibility and a lot of fun with huge numbers without putting too much effort. As I've said in the comment section of the poll, I personally want this game to be permanent in some kind of form. As of now, we don't know if the game will make any return, but Giovanni did say that the game is still in the testing phase, so perhaps it could make a return like the boxing event. Otherwise, do some kind of story that Giovanni end up adding it as a part of Simulated Universe mechanics, and I truly think that that will make the Simulated Universe to be much more fun, since you now have both the roguelike and vampire survivor gameplay element in it. And the Simulated Universe can become a mode that will take a long time to 100% them, and becomes a long-term goal for all the players. As for making them as an endgame, I agree with some of the comments that endgame should be character focused instead of mechanic focused. That way we can have all of our characters to shine on the right spotlight. Regardless of the developer's decision, I think everyone when filling the survey for this patch should mention about this event and asking them to be permanent in some way, since it is fun. And if you don't want to become a permanent, maybe just show your appreciation in the survey and ask them to make it a return someday. Also, it is such a shame that so many assets such as weapon icons and weapon animations in this game mode are going to waste for just one event. Alright, thank you for your time, and also once again everyone, thank you for commenting. I'm going to choose one of the poll results again as the topic for next week video. So if there's any older polls that you want me to make as a video, do let me know and I will take that as consideration. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next video, stay sharp gamers.
Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe!